Hey there, welcome everybody to this edition of the Women's Summit. Today we have the amazing Sandi Cohen with us, and she is going to tell us about her experience in her businesses, because she's had many, and her interaction then with customers will tie it into the subject of this Women's Summit. So welcome, Sandi. It's amazing to have you with us today.
I am so honored, Sharon, that you reached out to me, because I think we have so much in common in that you are a pajama grandma, as I am as well. And that was coming from traditional business. That was really my dream, to be able to control my time and my lifestyle and get out of the suits that I had to wear every day with high heels that killed my back because I was in such a male-dominated profession. So thank you, and I'm hoping to be able to contribute to anyone that's listening, because life is too short not to live your dream. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So Sandi, can you tell us a little bit about your corporate background? You were in corporate in the male-dominated world, like a lot of us. And what did you do there? And then what are you doing now? And how did you make that transition? What caused, well, obviously you wanted more freedom, but what else caused you to make that transition?
You know, things don't often happen as planned. I mean, married my childhood sweetheart, and we're still married.
Awesome.
Probably more years than most people watching this online summit. Actually met Eddie when I was 15 years old, braces and all. And we've just celebrated our 57th wedding anniversary. That's to each other. That's not cumulative.
Nice.
And so life was good, when we first got married. Eddie had finished pharmacy school. We both went to Temple University. He finished pharmacy school and started opening his first pharmacy, which was a failure with a partner. And as you know, many businesses will fail for a variety of reasons. And he sold his share back to his partner because he was working literally 90 hours a week for about $50 a week. And
Wow.
He thought I was able to buy groceries. He didn't know my father used to come to the apartment and deliver groceries because we didn't have the money. But I promised my father that I would finish school, and I graduated Temple University in 1963 with a degree in education. And it was interesting how even when I was very, very young, my dream was to make a difference in the world. And I knew that when it was my time to go, whenever that would be, I wanted people to say, because I was here, I was a positive influence. So 1963, if people can remember, during the days of integration, and Martin Luther King was one of my heroes, I volunteered to be the first white female in an all-black school. Quite a challenge.
Yes.
And my husband thought I lost my mind. But, I think we're married so long because this is a secret, girls. I never listened to him. I do what I want. Okay. So maybe that's why we're still married. He listens, gives his opinion, and then I do what I want.
Right.
So I did that for 3 years, and wanted to start a family, because to us that was really important. And I thought, well, when I was going to start, it would just happen. I didn't realize that doesn't always happen that way. So I had a really tough time getting pregnant, but I finally did. And I asked the principal of the school to allow for a transfer so I could be closer to where we lived, which was about a 45-minute drive. And he refused. He says, I can't let you out. We're trying to get white teachers in. I can't let you guys say, well, look, if you don't let me resign, then if you don't transfer me, then I will have to resign, which I did, and started a family, and things were going very well. Ed opened his next pharmacy, which was a very big success, and the next, and the next, and he had 5 pharmacies.
Nice.
By the time, probably 1976. So I was living the dream, Sharon. We moved into a 10,000 square foot house, Rolls Royce stretch limo, English houseman cook from Grand Cayman. I thought I was set for the rest of my life. But as we know, if anyone's ever read the book by M. Scott Peck, Dr. M. Scott Peck, the book is called The Road Less Traveled. The very first 3 words in the book, is life is difficult. Life happens, stuff happens. And to make a long story short, 1978, I was in one of Ed's larger pharmacies, which, if you remember the days of the 5 and 10 cent store, we had everything, toys and housewares. And anyway, a woman comes in who I knew because I often went to the store to help. And she was crying. And I said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "Remember when I told you my mother had a colostomy?" And the truth is, Sharon, I didn't even know what that was at that time. I said, "Well, what's going on?" She said, "Well, I've been trying to buy the supplies that I need through another pharmacy that was about 2 miles away. And she couldn't afford to buy them anymore. She didn't have the money. And she was using rags. I later found out how horrible that was. So at the time, my father was ill, and I was the son he never had. So I was checking into Social Security and Medicare, and what are his benefits? And I said, I think I read those kinds of supplies are covered through Medicare. And she also had Medicaid, so she wouldn't have had to pay anything. So I called Pennsylvania. We called Pennsylvania Blue Shield together, and they verified, yes, it's a covered service. She shouldn't have to pay anything. So I called the pharmacy owner, and I introduced myself, Sandi Cohen, Ed Cohen's wife. We're in the same neighborhood. And I asked him, I said, I understand from Margaret and from Medicare, Social Security, that all you would have to do is fill out a form for her, and she wouldn't have to pay for anything. You know what he said to me? He said, "Sandi, if you want that kind of business, you do it." And he hung up on me. I was horrified.
No kidding.
At least tell the woman what her options are.
Right.
So I said to Margaret, "Look, I'm not sure exactly what you need, but if you bring me the packaging or the box, I'll find it for you." Next day, she brings in the box from Hollister, and we had a pharmacy across the street from Pennsylvania Hospital. So I called the pharmacy at 8th and Spruce, Pennsylvania Hospital, and I said, "Ronnie, I need to," and I read him what was on the box. And he said, "Oh, no problem. We have it here in the store." I said, "You're kidding. Can you transfer it to our store?" Which he did. Pennsylvania Blue Shield in those days, in the 70s, were wonderful. They sent a rep in and showed us how to fill out the paperwork and how to accept assignment. She was my first customer. And before I knew it, you know how the universe brings things to you and you're not quite sure, the law of intention, the law of attraction, whatever it is. All of a sudden, a few days later, a doctor called, who was a big referral to the pharmacy. And he says to my husband on the phone, "I need you to take care of something for me." And he said, "What?" And he said, "Well, I have a patient who's homebound. I need a hospital bed. I need a wheelchair. I need oxygen. I need da-da-da-da-da." And he said, "Okay, we don't do that, but we'll find somebody who does." So Ed called one of his dearest friends who he went to pharmacy school, who had a store in New Jersey. And he said, "Ronnie," I said to Ronnie, "this is what I need for this particular physician for his patient." And I said, "What do you need to fill the order?" And he said, "Nothing much. The doctor's contact information, the patient's contact information." I said, "And then?" He said, "Well, then I'll take care of it." It's that simple? Forget it. I'll do it myself. I called back Pennsylvania Blue Shield, and they told me how to do it. Called our wholesaler, ordered all this thousands of dollars worth of equipment. She was my second patient. So after 3 years, we had a multi-million-dollar business servicing Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. And more stories about Children's
Mhm.
Hospital and how they needed a catheter for a baby that was like 50 cents and nobody would go get it because there was no money in it. Guess who did it? Me. And then I had the spina bifida clinic. So, you know, I think, especially for women, we're so much about making a difference, about being of service to others, and really having to feel like we are doing something. And things went well, considering that in the country of the United States of America, there were very few female owners in the medical and surgical supply business. I mean, we were a rarity. We were competing against some major companies. I helped start the state association because there wasn't one, then the national association, got certification on everything you can imagine. And things were going phenomenal. Busy like crazy, but when you love what you do, it's really not like work. I mean, you look forward to your day. But stuff happened. That was 1978. So 1986, Social Security changed all its guidelines. And they owed us about $1 million in receivables. Now, we had 36 employees, $500,000 in inventory. Friday comes, what do the employees expect? Their paycheck, right? Yeah. Eddie turned gray that year. We did everything to make sure our employees never were late in getting their paycheck, but we decided that the stress was too much waiting for Social Security to get its act together. So we decided to sell the business to a group of private investors. A group of accountants and attorneys took over the business and then defaulted and did not pay us. Within 7 months, they were out of business. My baby was gone. And, but we started litigation immediately because as soon as they stopped paying, they actually filed an injunction because I went back into the pharmacy that was across the street from a supermarket that Ed bought me. He bought me a supermarket that went out of business to house all the employees in the showroom. So when they defaulted and the litigation started, I moved back in the pharmacy and started my business all over again because all the hospitals were my accounts anyway. So they filed an injunction trying to stop me. Now understand, Sharon, I never missed an episode of LA Law for 8 years. I think I'm an attorney. So the judge threw out the injunction. He said, you can't stop her from making a living. You breached the contract.
Yeah.
So 1986, the lawsuit starts. And Philadelphia happens to be one of the worst in the country to get your day in court. 8 years later, we finally got our day. Meanwhile, we lost everything.
Yeah.
And we moved to Arizona because I was going to start my life over at 52. At least I want to be warm and see the sunshine. So 1986, we started. 8 years later, the lawsuit, we went as far as picking a jury, just like on television. It was amazing. 2 days to pick a jury. And after we picked the jury, the judge stood up on his podium and threw a stack of books on the floor. And he said, counsel, in my chambers now. And they came out about 40 minutes later. None of us knew what was happening. And there's were his words. The Cohens have been harmed enough. I am not going to go through a lengthy, expensive jury trial when they're never going to understand. So he forced a settlement, but guess who the winners were? The attorneys, because there was no business. So he pierced the corporate veil. So we were dead right, dead broke at the age of 52 and $450,000 in debt. How do you get out of that? So choices again, life, somebody gave me the book by Dr. Peck, The Road Less Traveled. Okay, accept the fact that challenges come in your way. So what do we do? And it gets much worse. My mother took sick with Alzheimer's and breast cancer, and I wouldn't put her at home. So we were taking care of her for 5 years during the 8-year lawsuit, go to bed crying, wake up crying. Anyway, that's when I decided nobody is going to stop me from living the life I want to live. And when we moved to Arizona, somebody introduced me to a lady And we've been dear friends now for 25 years. And are you familiar with the business model of network marketing or multi-level marketing?
Yep, I sure am.
Yeah. And she was a very successful realtor, very successful in Scottsdale, Arizona, but she had no time freedom. She had the money, but she couldn't go away, and her husband was retired, and she was looking to replace that income. So when I asked her, what did she do? And she told me network marketing. I said, don't even go there. Don't even go there, because I had convinced Eddie to buy $8,000 worth of water filters that we put in all the 5 pharmacies. And when we lost everything, we couldn't even we gave them away to Goodwill because nobody would buy them. Mm-hmm. I said, I can't even begin down that journey or that road. It'll be grounds for divorce. So we didn't tell him. We kept it a secret. I used my mother's credit card, and we got into her first program. Well, if anybody is a professional, they know there's a huge learning curve in any business. Mm-hmm. And we had a big one. But you know what? I never gave up believing, because she said to me, if you're willing to help other people, you might get your life back. And that resonated with me, because it really is about helping others. What's your problem? And let's see if we have a solution. If you don't have a problem, we probably are not going to do business together. And when you talk about customers, they're the lifeblood of any business. It doesn't matter whether you need oxygen or a wheelchair, or you need products that are going to help you live longer, healthier, and look and feel wonderful as we age. So that's how I got into the profession of network marketing. And also, again, pioneer. I love to be a pioneer because I want to make a difference. We also started, which is now maybe 16 years ago, the international organization. We're one of the co-founders of the Association of Network Marketing Professionals, because I saw so much happening in the profession that needed to be fixed. And I'm a fixer. You know, if there's a problem, let's figure out how do we do this better, because the majority of people, believe it or not, Sharon, do not understand the huge tax advantages, legal tax advantage of having a part-time home-based business that you work maybe 7 hours a week, not a day. I mean, just like, Bill Gates, just like Warren Buffett, it doesn't matter. Just be able to, if you work a paycheck, and if people look at their paycheck, they always see a chunk taken out for taxes, usually average $300, $400, $500 a month. Most people don't know that they can keep that money legally, set aside money for their kids' education, wedding, cars, whatever, their retirement, if they work a home-based business. So it's easy. Find a product or service you love and that you'd want to use anyway. And if you refer some friends, great. And if you refer a lot of friends, you can make a lot of money. So we've made millions over the last, I guess it's now 24 and a half years. And we're actually starting a new project now, which I'm really excited about. But again, when you talk about customers, it's not about what we want. And it doesn't matter the product or service. How do you better serve the person that you're talking to? Because what's in it for them should be the motto. I just love that you're doing this, because and you use the term customer lifetime value, CLV for short. You're so right on, Sean. You are so sharp in understanding the corporate world as well, because that's how they value and predict growth. Because I'm going to read something, because I've done some homework, obviously ex-school teacher, I'm always doing homework. And there are key customer retention statistics to consider. Now, I didn't know this I knew it was important. But here it is. Acquiring a new customer can cost 5 times more than retaining an existing customer. Think about that. So how do you nurture the relationship of people, whether you're a realtor, a doctor, a coach, it doesn't matter. And increasing customer retention just by 5% increases your profits between 25 to 95%. Well, those numbers are staggering. and the success rate of selling to a customer you already have a relationship with is 60 to 70% higher than trying to get a new customer at a stat of about 5 to 20%. So the customer value that you're talking about and everybody's going to be talking about is critical, absolutely critical. And I can relate to it not only in our pharmacy business, traditional business, our medical and surgical supply business, but it was always about how do I serve that customer? How can I make their quality of life better? Forget the fact that I would be reimbursed for that. So I was always looking for ways. I mean, I did house calls at night in some pretty bad neighborhoods, but you know, the patient had to be seen and they couldn't come to me. So I would go for breast prosthesis or special, you know, compression stockings, and they couldn't come. I would go to them. None of my competition would do that, but I did. And that's why, you know, we were successful in the profession of network marketing. Tell you a true story. Probably about 10, 12 years ago, I was working with the team, and there was this young man who was really, really growing like crazy. And I said to him, I noticed that you really don't have any customers, that everybody you bring in is a business builder. Now, the FTC laws have changed. Mm-hmm. In the profession of network marketing, if you know what's going on, everybody has to have customers that are not participating in the income opportunity. That's all the new rules. But back then, there were no rules. But I still believe that customer had value because that was our long-term recurring income. You know, I heard somebody say, when you chase the money, you will run out of gas. But when you have a customer who loves your service or product, they're going to be with you for a long time. So I said to him, how come you don't have any customers? Because we had a product that was doing billions of dollars in sales and no customers. It was everybody became a business builder. Mm-hmm. You know what he said to me? I don't want customers. So what do you mean you don't want customers? I don't want customers. I only want people that are going to build. I said, do me a favor. Can I have your customers? You're going to find out you're so wrong. Mm-hmm. Because today, 16 years later, those customers are still reordering. Nice. Where are the people that are running out of gas? They're looking at every shiny object that's out there. But customers, if they love your product or service and it makes a difference, they're going to continue to use it. So your customer lifetime value, Sharon, your topic is critical to people to understand whether they're in traditional business, even if they have a restaurant, or they're in corporate America, or they have their own personal business. So I love your subject.
That is amazing. One thing just made me think of lifetime value of a customer, because I was thinking about it the other day as I was putting on my eyeliner. I've been wearing the same eyeliner since I was 15 years old. And I'm like, I bet that they don't even understand or know the value of me as a customer for them. Because I've tried a lot of other eyeliners, but I still use the same exact eyeliner that I've used since I was 15. And it's only probably $5 or so for a container. But how many of those have I used in the last 42 years or whatever, however old I am? Actually 43 years. A lot. I mean, probably 3 or 4 or 5 a year. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but over 40 years, it's a lot. So it doesn't matter what you're selling or what your service is. It's all about the customers. And without customers, we have no business. So that's just fantastic. Oh,
yeah. You okay? Okay.
I dropped my magnifying glass, and we know I can't function without it, right? So.
Oh, that's so cute. But, you know, in my research about customer lifetime value, it's like when we started when the medical and surgical supply business started, I mean, does anybody remember the yellow pages? Do you remember yellow pages?
People don't, but I do.
Yeah, that's how I started the business. I started with doctors and hospitals at A, and every day, just going on to find people who might need the service. Well, today, we've got technology.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was probably about 24 years ago. I listened to an audio cassette tape. If anybody remembers Walkman, I was listening to this audio cassette tape, and here's what the guy said. And this is the only thing I remember out of the 40-minute audio. He said, if you do not embrace technology, those who do will leave you in the dust. Think about that. If you don't embrace technology, those who do will leave you in the dust. So I came home and I said to my honey, Ed, you have to teach me how to use a computer. I honestly didn't even know how to turn one on. And you know what he said to me? One word. Why?
Why?
I said, because I have to learn. I'm going to be doing network marketing. I have to learn how to use a computer. He said, not to worry, honey. I'll type your letters for you. I said, it's not about typing my letters. That's what my assistant did in my med surg. Letters to doctors, hospitals, social workers, whatever, discharge planners. I said, no. I actually have to learn how to. And now, oh my God, I am a tech junkie. Because my mother gave me for my birthday, that was my birthday month, June, and she bought me classes. There used to be stores called CompUSA that had classes there. And I went for a whole summer. I just took and became addicted. But today we've got technology, but it's not the same as a phone call. It's not the same as a handwritten note. In fact, everybody that comes into our team, whether just a customer or just a business partner, gets a handwritten note. And they're like, wow, you took the time to write it? Yes, because we've gotten away. I mean, we're so used to texting and emails and Zoom, which is absolutely amazing and it's free. So that's like incredible. And, there's this controversy about emails. And I have to tell you, Eddie and I decided many years ago that staying connected to people was so important. And this is back in the days of AOL, if people remember. The old AOL, they were the only game in town. And back in the old days, if you sent out emails, like a couple hundred emails, where you couldn't send out 500 emails, they would cap you per day, whether it was Netflix, whatever, all those Earthlinks and whatever there was in those days. So we met a guy who was a computer geek, and he installed a server in our home. And we now have our own server, so I can send out 10,000 emails a day. Nobody stops me. I mean, it was expensive to set up, and most people wouldn't do it. But we have people who have been on my email list for 20 years. And unless they die or they say, take me off your list, get out of my face, they're on there forever. And you have no idea how many people reach out to me and say, thank you for staying in touch, because life happens. What wasn't appropriate maybe a year or two ago might be very appropriate now. So that constant touch, somehow marrying high tech with high touch. I went to an event recently, I'm not going to mention any names, and they had a woman on stage that I was horrified with her presentation. I mean, horrified. She was teaching people never talk to anybody, never pick up the phone, just text and email. And she did well for that 60 days or whatever. She was recruiting people like crazy. But every business is about relationships. Every business is about connecting with people you like and trust. You've got to marry that high tech with high touch. And sometimes it's not easy because we're all so busy, but there are things that you can do to make it easier. And if you want, I found a couple wonderful articles about customer retention, email marketing, how to use the phone appropriately. So I'll send them to you. And if you want to share them with everybody, they're not specific in any way to any company or whatever. It's just that I believe in the acronym CANI, CANI. Most people don't know what that stands for, even if they do it. And you are a perfect example of someone who believes in Kanai. You never stop. It's constant and never-ending improvement. Because if you're not growing, you're dying, you're stagnant. Now, I don't care what profession you're in. Look at anybody who's really successful, and you go into their home. One of their rooms is what? A library. They don't just collect books, they actually read them. I admit I have a lot of books that I haven't finished reading, and I've got probably 4 on my nightstand. But the point is, that's how we learn and grow. And my father taught that to me as a teenager. And he used to say, a day shouldn't go by when you don't learn something. We never know it all, regardless of the PhDs and the doctorates, whatever. That's why Ed, even though he, thank goodness, doesn't have to work as a pharmacist anymore because we retired him a long time ago. But he still goes for continuing education units. And some of these classes, I'm going with him, not for CEUs, but because of the subject matter. It's all about anti-aging. That's why we've been doing Ageless Advocates, because we educate on how to live longer, healthier. And we're very involved in this institute called Institute for Brain Potential for the Aging Brain. Because whether you like it or not, we're all aging. And for me, I mean, I was in the med-surg business, and let me just tell you, I don't want to be like my mother, tied to a hospital bed for 5 years. I don't care if I'm in a wheelchair, but please let me have my cognitive skills. And, I just thought of something, Sharon, because my passion is really to help women. And it all started probably 1975 when I said to someone who's related to me, very close, and I've seen this happen over and over again, staying in a really bad marriage. I mean, I won't even go into how bad it was. And I said to her, why do you stay? Why haven't you just cut the cord and left? You know what she said to me? He pays the bills. He pays the bills. She didn't have enough confidence that she could have a better way of life. And let's say I'm married, she's still married probably 54 years to the same guy. They have no life together. And if you look at her, she looks like she's 150. If you have a conversation, she starts to cry because she's so unhappy. I went to an event with Brendan Bouchard, and if you've ever had the chance, anybody.
Oh, Brendan Bouchard.
Love him.
Love him.
And he had us, and it was a hard workshop for me because from all that loss I had, I still have this internal fear never to have to go back there again. I mean, so not only do I love what I do, but I think it's fun. But he said to us in the audience, we were with him for 3 days, he said, find 3 words that could represent you. And you know what? It took me 2 days to figure out what those 3 words were. Can I share them with you?
Hey, I was going to say, you're going to have to share those with us now.
Okay. And regardless of anything, for me, staying healthy is the most important because some of my best friends are gone. They're not on this side of the dirt anymore. Okay. First and foremost was joy. Joy. Because if you have joy, find something in the chaos of our world that gives you pleasure, that gives you joy. And hopefully you stay healthy because nothing's worse than dealing with health issues. So joy was the first one. The second one was gratitude. And Eddie and I have been doing this for years. We follow the teachings of Abraham, Esther, and Jerry Hicks. Oh my God.
Mike, funny, my daughter listening to him.
Yeah, I get it. I'm on her email list. So guys, if you're not on her email morning motivation, this is 25 years. And I actually went to her event while we were going through the lawsuit. And you know how you go to her event and she says, not to worry, because if you don't get your question answered, promise somebody else will answer. And that's what happened. I was going to ask her about the lawsuit and where was it all going, and somebody else had a similar problem and she had already answered it. So, I wake up every morning with joy and gratitude. gratitude. And she talks about that all the time. And she has that free morning motivation that anybody can subscribe to for free. I love the word free. Absolutely free.
Everybody likes the word free.
Yeah. It's actually on my website. Her book that changed my life 25 years ago was Ask and It Is Given. Ask
I have that, and I have the card deck, and I have it on CDs back in the day of CDs. I love Esther and Jerry Hicks. I love Esther, but I kind of miss Jerry a little.
Yeah. But when I was first introduced to Esther and Jerry Hicks Abraham, I was very resistant because I thought it was some woo-woo crazy stuff. We were like, oh yeah. But a friend from New Jersey introduced me to it, and I didn't think my husband would embrace it. He embraced it more than me. And this 17-second exercise that she teaches, and I'm not going to tell anybody what that is.
Yep, let them look it up themselves. If they're attracted to it, they'll look it up themselves.
Yeah, I still do that every
awesome.
night before I go to bed. And we have a website, sandyanded.com, and I have her PDF there, Ask It and Is Given, plus a whole bunch of other stuff. But I think that I got off on a tangent, so I'm so sorry, because sometimes
your third word. We're waiting for your third.
Oh, yes. So joy,
gratitude.
And the third one is connections.
Nice.
I found that because I was so focused on the business, literally 8 days a week, 26 hours a day, that I didn't make the correct time that I should have. And in fact, we live in now beautiful Lake Las Vegas and belong to 2 clubs. And they had a lunch once a month for the last 11 years that I never went to. So about 3 months ago, I show up. I'm sitting next to a lady, and she said, "Welcome to Lake Las Vegas. When did you move here?" I said, 11 years ago. And she said, "Are you serious? And you've never come?" So that was making new friends, making new connections to see how I can help them with whatever they're doing, whether it be a realtor, a physician, a nurse, it doesn't matter. It's really about the relationships. And look, you and I met through somebody else. Yeah. And now we're friends. Absolutely. So it's a connection that I value because of who you are. And in spite of your moving and so busy, you're making time to do this. Most people would say, bad timing. I'll address it at another time. You didn't do that. You made a commitment. And in spite of your challenges, you're overcoming and getting it done and doing a phenomenal job as well.
Thank you. Well, that's because I made a commitment to myself. One thing I learned a while ago is that we can fool other people, but we can never fool ourselves. So if we tell ourselves we're going to do something and we want to have any integrity at all, we have to meet our word to ourselves. It doesn't matter if I maybe didn't always be honest with my kids or my ex-husband or whatever. And I don't mean honest because I'm brutally honest. It's really sad. But I might not have said something that I wanted to say to them and I kept it to myself. But once I make a commitment to myself, I think you have to realize that you can, once you stop making those commitments to yourself, that's when you get into trouble and you go down these slippery slopes. But
yeah, it's all about
free word thing. That's wonderful. Because
it's all about habits, right, Sharon?
Oh, absolutely.
Because we all know how easy it is not to do something.
Oh, it's way easier to not do things than it is to do them. Have you read Brendan Burchard's Golden Ticket book?
Not the Golden Ticket one.
Love that. I'm going to recommend that you read that. My daughter even read that, and my son. That was the first book of his I actually read, and I like it because it's such a parody and a story, and maybe that's why I liked it so much, but that's what led me into reading his other works. I still am working on, I think, High Performance Habits.
Yeah, I got that one. Yeah. And I have his manifesto or something.
The manifesto I've had for a long time, but I can't read it. That's
too hard to get through.
The thing is can't, but the way it's written after reading the Golden Ticket is so textbooky, and I'm an engineer, and books like that, I can read about 10 minutes and they put me to sleep. So when don't tell him I said that, when I read his book, the manifesto one, I get that vibe from it, and I just haven't been able to get through it. Now my sister read it in like a day, and she said, "Oh my God, this is the best book I've ever read." So I know I need to go back and read it, but obviously the timing hasn't been right for me on that one yet. I love Brandon.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
have not been to one of his live things. I think that would be fun to go to.
And just so the audience knows, if you get on his email list, you can attend his 3-day event. He does them in Arizona for $1.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
On his list. I must not have read that. Okay.
Yeah.
I love what you say about books and leaders being readers and things. I think that's really profound. People need to understand that you have to be continually improving and growing and developing yourself, because our businesses and our relationship with customers and anything we do will only ever grow as fast as we do.
Exactly.
Like I said, I'm moving, and one of the hardest things I'm having trouble separating myself with is my books, because I don't want to give any of them up. Now, I've given up my cookbooks because I'm not in the food industry anymore. Not all of them. I still saved maybe a big box or a big tub of them, but the vast majority of them, I'm like, all right, somebody else can use these cookbooks. And I don't cook from cookbooks anyway. I just like to read them. But with the magnifying glass, I'm like, okay, how many books do I actually have to keep? But that's interesting, because I found that so many entrepreneurs and so many people that have their own businesses have big libraries of books. So that's an important thing. And then what you said all about relationships, that it's all about relationships, and it's about working with the people that we resonate with and that resonate with us. And moving forward to create long-term relationships with people. And I love that you looked up the statistics on that, because they vary. One of my favorite books is How to Lie with Statistics, because I was in corporate America, I was a quality manager for a quarter century. That's really scary, right? 25 years. And, a lot of things were statistics and data and technology. And nowadays everything is, well, here's your numbers, here's your statistics, which really, they're kind of made up. So it's got to be based on, how do you feel about people, and are you attracting the right people for you, and are you helping them and serving them and making the world a better place? Not about, I have 10,000 followers, or I have 2,000 views of my latest video, because that's all kind of so temporary and so made up. The other thing that I think is really powerful that I hope people caught as you were talking was the importance of marrying the older school technologies and with new technology, knowing that new technology is always going to be changing, but that personal touch is going to be what makes the huge difference in people's lives. I couldn't tell you the last time I got a handwritten thank you note. Although I did see one, because my son just bought not a new car, but he bought a car, and it was an expensive car. And the lady that he bought it from actually sent him a handwritten note. And I'm like, and I'm sure he saved it because he's a card saver. But what I love is that he'll remember her. And when he goes to buy his next car, he's probably 90% more likely to go back to her than the guy I bought my car from, where I just get emails all the time from that dealership. And I couldn't care less about it, because no one else on that dealership lot even talked to my daughter and I, except the one man that ran out in the 30 below weather to talk to us and said, we got one of those in the showroom. Why don't you come in here and sit in it, versus being out here in the 35 below. And there were probably 20 salesmen on that lot that day, but only the one guy came out and showed the initiative to say, hey, you look like you want to buy a car. I can help you. And you know what? I bought the car on the spot. I didn't even drive it. And my daughter looked at me and she said, well, are you excited? I said, I don't know. We never even drove the car. We didn't even sit in the one that I bought. We just said, I want this one in this color, and these are the features I want. Oh yeah, we have one of those. And so then after we'd made the purchase, he drove us around the parking lot to show us how it automatically parked and did all these crazy things that cars can do nowadays. But it just goes to show you that if you pay attention to people, you will get them paying attention to you and wanting to do business with you. And it won't be just one time. It'll be time and time and time again.
And the referral aspect, which is huge.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Positively. So amazing.
Yeah.
Sandi, do you have any last parting words of advice? I would recommend that everybody do that 3-word exercise and think about, what are the 3 words that mean the most to you? I actually did this with the person that introduced us. We did that as an exercise one day for the fun of it. And he's like, no, this is what I think your words are. So that's kind of fun, is asking other people too. And I'll tell just a quick story about this. Health is one of my words, I'll tell you right now, because in 2010, I had a sudden cardiac arrest because I didn't take care of myself. I didn't prioritize my health. I was stressed out. I was doing all kinds of things I shouldn't have been. I was putting everybody's needs first before my own. And so now health, since that event, because I'm lucky to be here, is one of my big three. The other one is experiences or being yourself. And then my other one would be love. And we went through that exercise, a person and I went through that to come up with those three things. And I would challenge all of you listening to do that. What are the three things you stand for? And the reason I say that is when I woke up in the hospital after the coma from that event, the first words out of my mouth were WTF. And my family had been laying bets on what I would say, but my life was in such turmoil that that was my first thought when I woke up. And I decided I didn't want that to be my first thought going forward. And now it's been, I guess, 8.5 years, or 8.25 years. So I think the new three words are serving me a lot better than the old three did.
Well, it's interesting because I don't know if most women know this, but the number one killer of women is not cancer, it's heart disease.
And it's death. The number one symptom of heart disease for women is death. It's very different than men. It's death.
Right. Yep. Usually their first heart attack is their last. So you are blessed to be here to tell the story.
Oh, I know.
Most women are not as fortunate. So I agree with you. And that's why really Ebby and I have we went to the cardiologist, maybe it was Tuesday or Wednesday, for a yearly checkup. It was a new doctor because our doctor had retired. Okay. So he's looking at all the tests and he looks at me saying, how does it feel to be 23 again? And of course it's because we've been doing so much as far as doing the right things to be healthier. And there's actually tests we can do and all that. But I agree with you. Health, you can be joyous if you've got your health. If you don't have your health, your whole world is falling apart. So I think because our audience is female and we're both about making a difference. I mean, that's what most women are all about. I have a URL that I have not used yet that I've had probably for 25 years. It's called Bring Mothers of America Home, because most women would love to have their own business without all the traditional burden that I went through. And if women have a dream, they should never give up on that dream. But it's not just listening to Esther and Jerry. It's not just doing a vision board. It's not just the connections and the gratitude. It's about really think about what you want. And I mean, like Esther always says, you're here, but you want to be over there, right? You're here, but you really, really, really want to be over there. So how are you going to get over there? You find people like Sharon who are so committed. You look to find new friendships, new connections that might be able to help you grow faster and never give up on your dream. Because I don't know what anybody believes, and I'm not going into politics or religion, but for me, I think I'm getting one ride on this merry-go-round. I want to come back, and I know how I'm going to come back. But meanwhile, I want to live my best life and help other people enjoy theirs as well, whether it be friendships, business relations, it doesn't matter. As long as you wake up every day with joy and gratitude and keep that health thing going, because if that's compromised, your whole world falls apart. It doesn't matter how much money you have. I have a friend that's a multi-gazillionaire now suffering with lung cancer, and he's probably not going to make it. So no matter how much money he's got or the big Ferrari in the driveway, doesn't matter if he doesn't have his health, because he's probably not going to be here much longer. So I want to thank you, of course, for inviting me. And hopefully we said something that resonated with our viewers.
I think you said a lot that resonated with our viewers. And I will give you a heads up. Later in this year, we are going to be doing another Women's Summit all about health and self-care and mindset and things. And I would love to have you back for that. I think that would be wonderful.
I'd be honored. Awesome. I'd be honored. So thank you again. And I can't believe it's Friday. It's like, you wake up, it's Monday, and the next day it's Friday. And just to elaborate and visualize how short life is, there was a movie many years ago, maybe 5 years ago, called 40 something. And the 40-year-old was getting married or having an anniversary, whatever. And the auntie came into the kitchen and said to her, oh, that was her birthday. happy birthday, sweetheart. And then the auntie says to her, but don't blink. And she says, why shouldn't I blink? She said, because if you blink, you'll be 70 like me. So don't blink, just know, and I use this all the time, and you can R&D, rob and duplicate it, okay? But give me credit. Life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. So make the most of your journey here and live life like it should be, the way you want it. So thank you, Sharon, for inviting me, and I look forward to remaining good friends.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sandi. You have an amazing day.
Thank you. Everybody have a good weekend. Bye now.
All right. That was awesome.
Did we go too long? Or are we okay?
I have no idea how long we even went. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you're on a roll, and when you're talking and sharing great information, it doesn't matter how long we go. They've gone anywhere from like 27 minutes to one lady was well over an hour. So it just absolutely doesn't matter. And I never know how long they are till I process them. So
yeah, but I just think it's amazing that you're making the time and effort to do this, because so many women need encouragement because they don't have the belief system that they can do and have whatever they really want.
Right. Well, I think most of us have this I'm not good enough undercurrent, or, I don't know, we're not born with that, but somehow along the way, life beats into us limiting beliefs, but we don't think that they're limiting beliefs. We just think they're our beliefs. We think they're our reality, and that's the way the world works. And every once in a while, something happens that it'll put a little crack in that belief system. You start to be open to, well, what else is possible? And if we can provide just that crack in people's armor to say, well, what else is possible? Look at all these cool women and the things that they're doing and how they're interacting with customers and other businesses and men in the workplace and whatever. And if they can do it, well, if some pajama grandma lady can do this, maybe I can too. Yeah. Which is the whole pajama grandma thing. It's because I want to work where I want, when I want, with whoever I want, wearing whatever I want. It's called
lifestyle.
Exactly. Absolutely. I want the lifestyle. And do I really want to be in my pajamas all day? I actually got dressed for us. Only because I had to go to the car dealership and rent a car for my son, right?
Yeah. Have you ever
Otherwise, I probably would have been in my robe still.
Yeah. Pardon? Have you ever done any work with Brian Tracy?
I've been studying Brian Tracy for 20 years, and I've done probably, I don't know, a handful of his courses and things.
I love that.
I had him on cassette tape.
Yeah, me too.
I will tell you that he's online now, and this bothers me. His hand motions, he's so trained. Yeah, and I'm like, Brian, just put your hands down
in your pocket. Yeah.
But I just listen to him. I don't watch him.
Right. I agree. And he's not getting any younger, but he did I guess it was a DVD series, The Power of Achievement. Mm-hmm. And I have all the content printed out, and with my team, we did about 6 months of nothing but going over Brian Tracy's training on the subconscious mind, the conscious mind. And you nailed it. People think they have limiting beliefs because it's the subconscious mind. And I really believe once they go, oh, I didn't realize that, I can change that because I can change it. Mm-hmm. So it is amazing how many people, in fact, our son who's in Philly, many years ago, he's an avid reader. He reads a book a week. Mm-hmm. I mean, when he was little, and if he did something that he had to be punished, his punishment was you can't read a book today. And I would find him at night,
reading under the covers.
Under his covers with a flashlight. But he still reads to this day a book a week. Mm-hmm. He went to law school and sold his books as new when he got done because he has such an amazing memory. He takes after his father. So anyway, he says, he called me from Barnes & Noble in Philly. He says, I got this book in my hand and it describes you. So what book did he send me? T. Harv Eker, Millionaire Mind, or whatever that was. And after I read it, it dawned on me, why doesn't everybody believe they can do whatever they want? I don't get it. Maybe it was how I was raised, that my father and mother always said, you can do or be anything you want. I never had, oh no, you can't do this or you shouldn't do that. So just interesting how much, according to Brian Tracy, our past influences what we become or don't become. So I think by opening that up to our viewers to realize they really can be or do anything they want if they want it bad enough, and change some of the old thinking, the old habits, little baby steps at a time. Because life's too short. It's like a roll of toilet paper. Because
I love that. I totally love that.
Yeah. You wake up one day and you go, wait a minute. I was 40 yesterday. I'm 77 now. What the heck? Or WTF.
Which isn't very nice to say. That one's not very nice, but I actually learned that from my dad. And actually NFW. I remember when I was a little girl and he worked at 3M, so he had Post-it notes. And on a report, he had NFW in capital letters written in his tough guy handwriting. And I'm like, Mom, what does NFW mean? And she just started laughing. And then I think it was probably a year later when she finally told me, because she didn't like to swear, but I was like, just thought that was funny. But
yeah. But anyway, I so appreciate you.
I'm so excited to have you, my dear. And I will process this video and I'll send it to you as an unlisted YouTube video so you can watch it and do with it as you please. And what will happen is next week, I had to decide, okay, I made a commitment to myself that I would do this in January. And I did not give myself a big enough time window because we had a 2-week lawsuit in there and we had Christmas and the holidays and everything. And I was like thinking that people would be available to do interviews and things for that 4-week period that they weren't available. And so I'll have all the interviews done and all the pieces. So next week I am going to do a soft launch because I made the commitment to myself that I'd go live next week. And then I'm going to promote it for 3 weeks and get everybody the information so that they can start promoting it and sharing it with their audiences too, so that it gets the attention it deserves. And so then we'll do the regular hard launch in 3 weeks after next week, because I could just put it out and do it, but I think it needs a few weeks to be promoted so people know that it's coming, because your interview and the interviews of the people that I've talked to, they're too incredible to not let a lot of people hear. So I want to make sure that we give it the promotion it deserves. So
wonderful. Well, I can tell you this, I'll help with the promotion because I live on the internet anyway. But I think you're bringing value, and that's the most important thing. Right. And if you're connected to these other women, I have to believe they're going to bring value. And I really believe you learn from everyone. So
you know what I did to pick people, Sandi? I actually, there's a thing called the Dream 100, where you look about and you think about, well, who are the 100 people that I want to work with the most? And I've done a lot of research on stuff, but I haven't been working primarily with women. So a lot of my research is men like Brendan Burchard, Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Stephen Covey, Les Brown. I mean, Jim Rohn, the people that I've followed for decades. One of my favorite books is Think and Grow Rich. As far as I
really
bought that book. You've got it sitting right there, don't you? Hey. Well, my son, unbeknownst to me, we don't think we're impacting our kids, but he was creating a team to do a mobile app, and he went and got Think and Grow Rich, the workbook and the book for everybody. And as a team, they all went through Think and Grow Rich, which made a mom very proud. But
did you know that, I don't know if you've ever been to my website that Eddie and I did about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It's just Sandi with an I, sandyanded.com.
Yep.
I found footage of Napoleon Hill live teaching the 17 principles.
That's amazing.
I mean, I can't believe I found it. So it's on the website to see him teach every principle. And it's not long. Each principle is about 12 minutes.
Yeah.
But what a mind that he had. And you do know that that's how Jerry and Esther Hicks got started, because of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
So
fun.
It's amazing how far we've come and how much we really have in common. So I'm really looking forward to becoming friends.
Isn't it interesting, though, that you think that everybody knows what you know when you know it after you learn it? But they really don't. It's still mind-boggling to me to think that most people haven't been exposed to even Think and Grow Rich and things like that, or Napoleon Hill, or a lot of learning and growing and personal development. So that's part of why this summit came about.
So how did you meet Ross Cherry?
I met Ross last year at Funnel Hacking Live. It's a marketing event.
Yeah,
I met him at Funnel Hacking Live.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just got there before everybody else, and he was standing in the lobby, and we just started talking. I asked him if he was going to Funnel Hacking Live, and we just kind of struck up a friendship.
Yep. Okay, good.
He's
I
back to
love the
working
guy.
now. He went back to work, and I'm like, Ross, you don't want a job, just do it. Because he's really smart and he's really talented and he's really good at the things that he does, especially with the funnel building and things. But he wants to do 8 million different things. And I'm like, Ross, you have to pick one thing. So he did this amazing funnel for a charity, for a golf charity. And I'm like, okay, now that you created this and you've got a story behind it and a case study, sell it to other people. And he didn't want to. So I'm like, okay, what's next? So then he
spent a fortune on all the training.
I know. And so then he went back to work, and I'm like, oh buddy, I can't, I keep
back to work, meaning real estate. Is that what you meant by?
He got a job working for
a real job,
long-term healthcare company, like an office job. And he hates every minute of it. So he'll be building his funnels and stuff on the side, but he wants to go into a network marketing company now and use funnels and things for that. And I'm like, more power to you. I wouldn't do it, but go for it. So, because, he's a lot younger than me. We have totally different desires and wants and things. And that's kind of where the Women's Summit thing came up. It just popped up. And then I'm like, it was just going to be a little summit for my personal Facebook page. I was going to do like a 1-day, maybe 5 speaker summit just for my audience. And then I don't even know, somebody suggested something and another person, and I started doing research and I put a couple of feelers out. And then all of a sudden it's this women's summit. Now, not just one thing, it's got to be 5 because it's 5 big topics. And I'm like,
right.
Yeah, okay, we'll figure it out. So
we're
figuring it out.
Absolutely. So have you ever participated in a network marketing company?
I have. I've been in 3.
Okay. Can you share with me?
I can. STS. I don't know if you've heard of them, the phone cards in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, I did that. Okay.
I did really good in STS until they went out of business.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah.
I was friends with all the owners, and I'm like, you guys, this sucks. So
can't get paid. Yeah.
Right. So I had lots of money. I didn't get paid from that company. Loved the company, loved the guys. And I'm like, okay. And I love the network marketing industry. I love it. But I blamed the network marketing industry for a long time personally that, well, most people aren't going to succeed in it. And then I realized most people don't succeed in anything. The vast majority of people aren't going to succeed in anything, because after network marketing, my ex-husband and I did real estate, and we went into real estate in a really big way. We had I think we had 6 different real estate companies at one time.
Before the crash?
Facets of, right. Well, actually, no. We started during the crash doing short sales and foreclosures and loss mitigation and loan modifications and things. So no, we started when it was really, really bad, which was really, really good for what we did in the industry. So I became a real estate agent and a broker and stuff, and we did that. And then I had my sudden cardiac arrest, and I said, yes, I am done doing real estate, because it was one of those things that I knew we were helping people, but the toll it was taking on my psyche personally, dealing with, because I had to do all the negotiating with the banks and things, and they were some horrible people. Yeah. And the things that they said and the way they treated people, it just ate away at my soul. It was horrible. And so as soon as I woke up, I said, yeah, I'm done. I said, I think we had like 200 files at that point. And I said, we need to contact all these people. I will finish these 5 deals. I'm not finishing anymore. We'll hook them up with somebody else. So we hooked them up with people we knew. And my ex-husband stayed in real estate. He still does his end of it. He does the rehabbing and finding properties and getting them at a discount and fixing them up. And he loves that part. And that was a fun part. That was a really fun part, was finding a property, seeing the vision, and then turning it into something awesome that you can sell. That was the fun part of the business, the dealing with the banks and creditors, and it's horrible, horrible, horrible. So I don't even remember my point of my story. That's what happens when you get old.
Yeah, tell me about it. So we were talking about the profession of network marketing, because
so we went into real estate, and now I realize, which I didn't even really realize, is like almost all these real estate offices are set up as network marketing companies.
Now they are. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I'm like, oh my, because I had my own brokerage and my own real estate stuff, so I wasn't involved in anything like that. I'm like, a lot of industries are going to the network marketing thing, but I love the personal development and the camaraderie and the community and the positive aspect of network marketing. I still think, though, that a lot of it, the vast majority of what's out there, is still so old school, and teaching people strategies and tactics to build their business in ways that are terrible and just, they feel icky. And I think that's part of what I didn't like about network marketing. I love the personal development. I didn't like the call your friends and family, sign them all up, do these calls, say this script, do copy and duplicate this. Because for somebody like me, being average and normal and like everybody else is like one of my greatest fears. And so to tell me I have to follow this exact cookie cutter format. And then the last network marketing company I've been involved in is one called Lavelle. And they're still around right now, Thrive Lavelle. I love their products. I love their service. And when I first started with them, they were new and young and we could do what we wanted. Then as they started to grow, all of the legal and things came in and none of the things we could do, it changed and we couldn't do any of those things anymore. And everybody had to follow and do the exact same thing. And as soon as that came in, I was like, nope, this is not for me. I can't follow everybody else's system. I have to go on my own path. So I think it's awesome for a lot of people, not the right path for me. Kind of my take on it.
Well, let me share with you, because number one, you understand the value of staying healthy.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Okay. And do you know the story about Zango juice, the patented Zango juice?
I do know Zango juice a little bit.
Okay. So there's thousands of products in the world.
Yeah.
But there's only one patented anti-inflammatory for heart disease, for inflammation in the body that can be measured. We're talking about a blood test called C-reactive protein score. Do you know about CRP?
I've heard of it. I don't really know much about it.
If most cardiologists and endocrinologists will routinely test for that. And when they were testing me, which was now maybe almost 17 years ago, because I had migraines that were killer for 30 years, taking drugs. I mean, I was taking serious drugs. And when we moved to Arizona, the internist there, after about a year, refused to renew my prescriptions. Even though Ed was a pharmacist and was in the farm, he couldn't fill it because it's a controlled substance.
Right.
And he said, look, Sandi, you're on Axert, you're on Emitrex, you're on Furanol with codeine, nothing's working. He said, do you realize you could have a brain tumor? It was like, don't even go there. He says, Sandi, I'm telling you, you need to get tested. He says, you run in and out for your prescription. You've never had a checkup. So, but I feel great except for the headaches. 30 years, I lost 6 days a month for 30 years. I wanted to die during those 3 days. And then it took me another day or two to come out of the drugs. The first doctor he sent me to was a cardiologist because my dad dropped dead at 64 of a heart attack. And I was already hovering. And so anyway, she took the test. And I said to her, why? What's the purpose? And she indicated about that the score of the CRP is an indicator for potential disease, heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, all of that runs in my family. And she said, if it comes back higher than 3, you're at risk. Came back 7.1. So I started to cry. I said, well, what drug are you going to prescribe to reverse it? She said, there's nothing that I can put you on that's safe, that you can stay on long term. About stress, diet, exercise. Hell, I was going through a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, losing everything. You talk about stress and taking care of my mother at home for 5 years.
Right.
About 3 months later, got the call about Zango juice. Okay. Mangosteen, whole fruit puree of the mangosteen. Never heard of it. Okay. People used to say, oh, I love mangoes. No. I said, it's a Jewish mango, mangosteen. So anyway, Ed did all the research and it turns out it's a COX-2 inhibitor like Vioxx or Celebrex that only attacks the bad pathway of pain, not the good, and will lower C-reactive protein score in 60 days or less. And that's what happened. It went to 0.3, and that's 16 years ago where it stayed.
Nice.
So if you have a product that people will take, even if there's no money attached to it, don't do the business, just stay healthy, live longer, get your blood test done to make sure that your inflammation is under control. So I can tell you that I'm starting a new project. And I mean, I've been doing this for 25 years, full time.
Yeah.
So hope I've learned some lessons.
I would hope, yes.
And I've become pretty good at sensing if something's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to work for the customer who doesn't want to do the business, who just wants to be healthy. Cancer, oh my God, the cancer stories are beyond belief. The research around the world before there was a patented product is unbelievable. Just go to the National Institute of Health on mangosteen and xanthans. It's probably the most nutrient botanical on earth to live longer, healthier. And we've got it exclusively. But I'm starting a new project and looking for some new partners. Would you be open to at least looking at some of the products as a customer?
Probably.
And if you know people that would love to build a recurring income, Sharon, I have to tell you, you don't really know me, but I am a workhorse.
Oh, I can tell.
My passion is never to be back in that fear place again. And confidentially, I'll share something with you. Promise, confidence.
Yeah, I'm not telling anyone.
16 years with this company, almost 3 billion in sales.
Mm-hmm.
The owners became criminals. I call them criminals.
That doesn't surprise me.
Stealing from the company, selling our product online at a discount and keeping all the money. They obviously got into trouble, which is so hard to believe how you can destroy a company like this.
Because people get caught up in greed, because human beings are human beings, and some people have the wherewithal to say no to things like that and other people don't. And it's sad, but money, and when you got $3 billion coming in from a product, it's pretty easy to take advantage of people.
Well, they did. And it's been a hell of an 18 months because almost overnight, my income gone.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I had 700,000 people on our team, not in the company, in our team. And I vowed to my team, who are family, that we'd find a solution. So the company Zango has been merged into a company called Zija, Z-I-J-A, with Moringa oleifera, which is the most nutrient dense for vitamins and minerals and all the stuff you need to stay healthy. So it's a good marriage. I trust the owner. He's the guy that started Nature's Sunshine 40 years ago. That's a $1 billion giant. So he's a good guy. But you know what I decided? I'm going to be 78 years old. Okay. What I came to the realization, hard truth, I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket ever again. I thought I did here, that I'd never have to worry, and they screwed us.
Well, after 16 years, you wouldn't think that you would have to. However, you know, the same is true. Like, I guess I learned that in corporate America, and it's part of my, you know, and my first network marketing company that happened in. And so maybe that's why I'm leery of it. It's just like anytime, and well, the same thing's the stock market. My ex-husband and I, in a 1-year period, we lost millions of dollars in the stock market. Our entire retirement nest egg, everything was tied up in stocks because we thought that that was the investment, which is part of why we went to real estate, because we lost everything. It wasn't even a year. It was like 6 or 8 months. And he would call me and he'd say, well, we lost $178,000 today. And I'm at work and I'm like, could you stop calling me and telling me things like that? I said, it's not realized money anyway, but it really hurts. So stop telling me. So that's where I learned that you cannot put all your eggs in one basket. You cannot put all your faith and trust in anyone or anything or any organization outside of you. You just can't do it. And I hope I've taught my kids that as well. I mean, you know, just even, and you're one of the very fortunate people that has had a lifelong marriage. I lost an awful lot in my marriage by getting divorced. Now, it was definitely the right move for me. Great guy, not a great guy for me. And so life is very different and will continue to be different. But I lost a lot, again, of any nest egg that I had created. And so it's like, okay, now we're rebuilding. But let's rebuild something that I have control over and that I really want to do and have passion for helping other people. I do have a question. My son has got chronic pain from a car accident. And
how old is he?
He's 27.
How long ago was the car accident?
5 years ago. In 2013, he was hit by a lady, just had the lawsuit. He won the lawsuit, but lost he lost everything. He had over $1 million in medical bills. They gave him like 100,000, the jury.
No
it was
way.
a jury trial. Everybody's flabbergasted. We're like, we don't understand what happened. Nobody does. Even the other attorneys, even my brother-in-law's an attorney, and he popped into the courthouse a couple of times, and he's like, oh my God, nobody, including the judge, can understand what the hell happened in that case. So, like I said, he won his lawsuit, he won the case, but they didn't award him enough money to do anything. But and even for medical going forward, which, half of that goes to the attorneys and that and his daughter and all this other stuff. And so he's scrambling to figure out what to do. My biggest concern is he's not better because the lawsuit's over. Maybe the stress of the lawsuit is gone, but he still has pain. He still has to go get all these medical treatments, radio frequency and injections and stuff that cost a fortune. Does this help with anything like that? Any nerve damage or pain?
Well, it's interesting. And I'm going to send you some of the science. And
all right.
Do you know what anti-inflammatory means?
I've had arthritis since my 20s. I was actually bedridden for about 3 years in my 20s, which is why I feel really bad, because I feel like my son is like reliving the experiences I had in my 20s because I didn't deal with them.
Well, rheumatoid arthritis or juvenile RA this works like in just a few weeks. Amazing. So here's what I tell people. I will send you the science. And don't forget, Ed is a pharmacist, so we check out everything.
Absolutely.
If you take enough, long enough, things will improve.
Right.
But the challenge is, Sharon, most people are not complain. I'll give you an example.
Oh, I know.
We used to do the A4M conferences for years, American Academy for Anti-Aging Medicine. These were physicians who went on for a specialty in anti-aging medicine, because that was always my dream. How do we live longer and not drop dead at 64 of a heart attack like my father, or like my mother with breast cancer and Alzheimer's, being in a hospital bed for the last 5 years of her life, not knowing where she was. That was not where I wanted to go as I aged. So at A4M, it used to cost us $10,000 a weekend to have a booth. 8 by 10, 11 booth, whatever.
Yeah.
But because we spent all that money, it allowed us to go into the lectures. And that's where I really got the bug about anti-inflammatory. Now, the doctors would sign up. They'd have the product in their office. The deal was you sell it to them retail, 1 bottle to hold them while they place their order. Make sure they take a minimum of 2 ounces with every meal. Is that pretty clear? 2 ounces with every meal. We have one doctor in Chicago till this day goes through about 10, 20 cases a month because he doesn't do the business. He just recommends, and he does a loading dose. So what he recommends is about 7 ounces a couple times a day for about a week, and then titrate back. But the doctors, when I would follow up with the patients, because I'm of service oriented, you don't have time to take care of your patients after the order, I'll do that. I would call them. How are you? It's Sandi through Dr. Whatever, and just checking on how, because you haven't placed a reorder, and this box of 4 bottles should only last you a month. Oh, I've got 3 bottles left. I said, well, how is that possible? Well, the doctor told me to take 1 ounce a day. I said, what are you, 2 months old? It's like, no, you need 2 ounces. I mean,
3 times a day, every meal. Yeah.
So now cancer patients, a bottle a day, 21 days, and then you get retested. The stories we have about cancer, and it doesn't matter the type of cancer, could be breast cancer, thyroid cancer, lung cancer, doesn't matter. The research on mangosteen, it creates apoptosis, which means the supercharged antioxidants that are only in abundance in this fruit cause apoptosis, which causes the cancer cells to kill themselves. Now, my mother had breast cancer. So why do I take this? Well, number one, assurance. Maybe I'll reduce my risk, because I've had excisional biopsies and all that stuff. Heart disease obviously runs in the family. But most important when you look at people. In fact, I just got a text from one of my $1 million earners, because I'm sharing with her some new things that I'm doing. Remember, I said I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
I'm about to launch a new project. So she said, where's my information? I said, I'm on a thing on that. But anyway, if you look at people that have been on this, like she said to me yesterday, she says, Sandi, nobody believes I'm 71 years old. My partner, who's been my partner, who got me back into network marketing 25 years ago, is 72 years old, competes twice a week in singles tennis matches.
Wow.
Singles tennis, and wins.
Nice.
And everybody says to her, because she puts water in her Zango bottles. So when she's on the court, they have to say, what are you drinking? They think it's, but it's to put the water in. So she gets customers that way. But people that have been on this consistently, I'm talking about, 4 to 6 ounces every day for about a year, all look 10 to 20 years younger. Nobody believes I'm 77 years old.
No, you don't look 70.
No surgery, although I would have liked to have had surgery, because I used to lay out in the sun and said, I'll get it fixed when I get older. I find out I'm a bleeder and I can't do surgery. So
just watch one of those on television. I watched it on the Discovery Channel or the Medical Channel or something one time. I watched
the horror stories.
I know. I watched a facelift, how they actually did it. And after that, I was like, I don't care how many wrinkles I ever get, because I was growing up. And so my sisters and I, we laid out in the sun. Everybody came to our house all summer long. It's like, how blonde can you get and how black can you look? I mean, it was
baby oil and iodine and olive oil. Yeah, we did all that. Yeah, that's our generation.
We knew better about skin cancer and things.
Yeah, didn't know about it. So anyway,
absolutely, send me some information and I will take a look at it. I'm always looking at new things and diversifying, and you never know and if I can find something to help my kids. My pain and inflammation, I pretty much control with diet now, because I had a really bad reaction last May, or not this last May, but a year ago May, where I had gone to Idaho for a ClickFunnels training, and I had sprained my ankle the week before. And then I went and saw my daughter in Colorado, because she and her husband were working in Colorado then. And just over a couple of day period, I went from, I just had a little bit of a sprained ankle to I couldn't frickin' walk. My joints.
How did you do it? How did you sprain the ankle?
Walking at the state park. Since my cardiac arrest, I made a goal that I would exercise every single day. And so up until that point, I had exercised every single day. And then I still did something, but I missed like a day or two when I was traveling, of like going out and walking and things. And I think part of it was I was making the ankle worse, but for some reason that event triggered everything in my body to just go haywire. And I had like massive problems, but I wasn't going to let it bother me. I went to the doctor after 3 weeks. My kids finally made me go to the doctor. They're like, you can't even make it to the bathroom. You need to go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor, and she of course did all the tests, and she said, well, your inflammation numbers are off the charts. You've got damage from, we can see it in your x-rays. So you need to go to the rheumatologist. And then my eyes, I'm one of the rare people that gets this inflammation in my eyes. It's called iritis and uveitis. So that's why I have the magnifying glass. And I've lost the vision in my left eye totally from the cortisone shots and treatments in that eye. And then my right eye, after my cardiac arrest, my right eye started to take that same journey. That event triggered in my body that inflammation again in my eye. And so then I had cataract surgery and surgery down at Mayo and stuff to fix that. But then after I had this inflammation acting up from the sprain thing, it immediately went into my eyes. And so I went to the doctors and stuff, but I did research online, and I'm like, I was horrified that, because I've really been pretty much in remission. I've still had migraines over the years and things on and off, but nothing like I had in my 20s. And so I was hoping that after 30 years almost, that medicine would have come up with some answers and some different things. And it actually was worse. I mean, the drugs and the procedures they were prescribing now, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. So I took 1 day of steroids, but I had taken a lot of steroids in my 20s, so I don't tolerate them very well. I took 1 day, I got some relief for a few hours. The next day I went to take it, and it had zero effect. It was like it was like, it almost made the pain worse. And I was in worse shape. So I called the doctor. I said, I can't take these. What else can I do? And she's like, well, you know, you can take all kinds of really hardcore drugs or get radio frequency or things. And I'm like, yeah, that's not an option. And so I made a video, a Facebook Live video. And I said, you guys, this is what's going on with me. I don't make Facebook Live videos, but does anybody know of anything that I should look at or that could help? Because frankly, I'm horrified by what my options are. I'm like, I don't like my options, but I also don't want to be wearing Depends yet. Not quite old enough to be wearing Depends and not having, you know, any mobility whatsoever. And one of my friends is, she's out, where is she? She's in Washington State right now. And I'd known her for like 10 years and I didn't really know what she did, but she is like, she was a nurse and then she went to the naturopathic way of healing and things and got involved in that. And she said, well, have you looked at eating for your blood type? I'm like, no. So she gave me some information. We did, I call them vampire tests, tested everybody in the family for our blood type. And what I discovered was for my particular blood type, about 80 to 90% of what I was consuming, thinking it was good for my heart, was against my blood type. And I think that between the spraining my ankle, the little bit of less activity than I was normally having, the flying and the pressure changes, and then the diet, my body just couldn't process all of the, because what happens is if you're eating foods that aren't for your blood type, if you're healthy, it's fine. And if you're eating a decent percentage of stuff, you're fine. But if your body gets low and needs more energy to combat what's going on in it, then it counts on the foods that you eat to be acting like medicine. Well, most of the foods I was eating were acting like poison. So I was literally poisoning myself from the time I had my heart attack, or not my heart attack, my sudden cardiac arrest, until this event. And I'd been active and moving and everything was fine until my body said, yeah, you got a problem now and we can't fix that and combat all this stuff you've been eating. And I'm talking, it's stuff like cayenne pepper and apple cider vinegar and things that are good for you and your heart, but they're bad for my blood type. And
Isn't that amazing?
Switched. I just looked at the list and I said, okay, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but for the next 10 days, I'm willing to try anything because I couldn't get out of bed. And so I said, all I'm eating are foods that are highly beneficial. And within like a couple of days, I could make it to the bathroom. I could walk. I was telling everybody at the eye doctor, I actually did not have to get injections in my eye for the first time ever. And I'm like, okay, this is awesome. If all I have to do is watch what I eat,
right,
because it's anti-inflammatory, then that makes a huge difference. So,
oh, that's amazing. So because of who you are, you're very much like me. It's about science, about research. Most people, the truth is, don't give a darn. They don't care at all. They don't care. No. They don't care about the toxins in their personal care products that cause cancer. There's a website with the biggest selling skincare in America, and I'll tell you the name of the company, Rodan and Fields. Okay,
yeah, I know them.
The largest on their web, because I research everything. I'm like this, like I gotta see what's behind the scenes. FDA forced them to put a disclaimer on their website that one of their ingredients in this best-selling skincare known to cause cancer. It's on the website.
Yeah.
When I talked to a lady who had breast cancer and she told me she was using Rodan and Fields, I said, are you ready for some shocking information? She said, what? I said, well, just go to the website. I told her what page to look at. Do you realize what you're taking? And you know what she said to me? Oh, yeah, I heard that, but I like the product. Now, you tell me, are some women insane?
Mm-hmm.
You've already had breast cancer. You've come out of it. And you're using a product that is proven to cause, they didn't say might, proven to cause cancer.
That's sad.
People crazy? I mean,
they are. Well,
I said to her, what if you could use a product that was totally clean and green and got the same results? Would you look at it? Well, not really. I'm okay. I said, you know what? We don't have any more to talk about.
Yeah, we're done here. But that's okay because we can't help everybody.
No.
So you offer what you have to the people, and the people that it's for and are ready, they have to be ready. Then they'll accept it. If they're not, it's just not the right time or whatever.
Right.
But most people, just they're too set in their ways. They've got their
Yep.
habits. And like, you know, it's like me and my 40 some years of the same eyeliner. I mean, I'm sure there's better eyeliners and things out there for me, but this is
you're happy.
It's worked for me. I'm happy. I'm not going to change. Now that doesn't have to do with carcinogens and things. And that's part of why I'm glad to not be in the food industry anymore. It is to me criminal the way, I mean, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't used to like the pharmaceutical industry. I still don't. And I especially don't after what my son's been through and my son-in-law the last 5 years.
Agreed.
But me too, personally, in my 20s, part of why I just went cold turkey on my medicine in my 20s. And that's when I finally started getting better and I went into remission. Otherwise, I'm sure I would be dead because there's no way I could have kept living the way I was living in my 20s. It was ridiculous.
So how old are you now, Sharon?
I'm 50. I think I'm 58. I was going to say 57,
Wow.
but I'm 58 and I'll be.
Do you realize you could almost be my daughter? We're married 57 years. Oh my God.
I know, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I am so
All
glad
right, dear.
we're getting to, I've got another call literally in 10
I
minutes.
do too. I've got a lady I have to call and see if I can have her fill in for another one.
So what is your best email? What is your best?
Hubs@gmail.com. I sent it.
That's the one I have.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will tell you, I will admit though, I am not an email person lately. I've really backed off and I check it maybe once every couple of days. So if
Should I text you instead? Can I text it?
Just text me that you sent me an email. Just message me that you sent me an email and then I'll look for it. My son's finally gotten smart. He's like, Mom, I just sent you an email. He calls me because he knows I'm not checking it otherwise, especially when I have other projects going on. And if I don't get out of this house, the ex-husband's going to go insane. So I have to put some time toward packing.
Sure. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Sandy.
So
you have an amazing day.
Where do you live now?
Wisconsin. Hudson, Wisconsin. Yep.
Hudson. Okay. So stay warm.
Yeah, it's going to be nasty for the next 10 days. So I'm just trying not to go out, but I've already been out once today and I got to go out again. So
you have to come visit and stay with us here in beautiful sunny Lake Las Vegas.
I'm jealous. All right. You take care, Sandy.
Have a great weekend. Thanks again.
Too. I'm going to be doing interviews all weekend.
Oh, I'm sure you are. Okay. Bye.
All righty. Bye.